at this stage, what I would usually do, but I'm not going to do today, is I would saute some onions and some garlic at this point. Just saute it nice and hot, get a little bit of color on it. And then once I get some color on that, I'd cool the whole entire pan down by throwing the tomatoes right inside. And then I would just let that simmer covered. But we're not going to use that. We're going to use powdered ingredients today. Something everybody has around the house. It'll still give a good result. So now that the pan is hot, we can tell that it's hot because the bubbles are popping and they're coming to the top. So that means the milk fats are getting some heat. And of course, hearing that sizzle, a little more reassures that it's hot enough. So we're just going to leave that for a second. Now the seasonings are going to be French seasonings because this is a recipe for my school, like I mentioned earlier. So we're going to put a little bit of thyme. I don't like thyme too much, so I'm not going to put a whole lot, which is, this I would think is a whole lot, so I'll put half of that. And maybe a little more, so that's it. And of course, some garlic powder. And a little bit of onion powder, because these things make it sweet, and the tomatoes are already sweet, so we don't need too much. And then, a bay leaf. Not a whole lot. One small one's alright. So now that this is hot, and it's moving good, lower it. Put some black pepper. And we'll leave that to simmer. I took a little bit of aluminum foil, try to make it the same size, popped a hole on top to let the steam come out. This is about 5 minutes later. As you see, it's turning soupy, and what we want to do is we want to get rid of all this water, so we're going to continue to let it all evaporate little by little. And as you can see, my flame is pretty low. I estimated about another 15-20 minutes. Alright, this is 10 minutes later. As you see, it's gone down somewhat. You'll also notice it's much drier in here than it was before. Before it was all soupy. So don't be afraid to mush it down. Help it out a little bit. So we'll leave this in until all this excess water that you see here on the side is evaporated, and all that's left is tomato. Here we go, about 5 minutes later. As you can see, it's really dried up a lot. Keep stirring it around to mix that moisture. Don't be afraid to beat it up like I said before. And I think I'll give this another 5 minutes just to make sure that it's a little bit drier. Alright, it's been another 3 minutes. This is looking really good. Just stir that up, look around, get this bay leaf out. Nobody wants to eat that. See, it's nice and dry. And don't forget to keep mashing it down. So by now, our mozzarella sticks should be done. They should be frozen pretty cold. Let's get our oil hot first. Then we'll take out the mozzarella sticks. We don't want them to defrost. We want to bring this to 350. Alright, now I think the oil's ready. I'm going to test it by just taking the bay leaf that I took out of the sauce and see if it sizzles. Alright, we know it's ready. Let me get the mozzarella sticks out. So we have these humongous, gigantic mozzarella sticks that I've created. And that's the sound you want to hear when you drop it in there, that sizzle. That's exactly what you want. So we'll put 2 in there, and put the rest back in the freezer so they stay cold. And just going to leave these alone for a minute. Get it back up. Sorry.
Ready? Nice. Yep.
So, let's just take a look at these real quick. They don't have enough color yet. You definitely want them dark. And when you throw the mozzarella sticks in the beginning, the temperature's going to drop because they are not obviously at the same temperature as the oil, which was at 350 about. So you have to give it a few minutes for the temperature to go back up. And that's what we're doing now. The hardest part about these mozzarella sticks is going to be eating them because they're way too big. I don't think we're going to have a problem. These seem to be looking really good, nicely dark. I'm going to take this one out. Now the important thing about fried food and keeping them crispy is putting them on a rack so that it has airflow underneath it. That is what keeps it crispy. If you put it on a napkin, it's just going to drop all the oil underneath it and absorb it back up and get mushy. Nobody wants that. Here you go. Fire off, get it on here, make sure it's always on a rack when you fry it. And here's a plate that I already put together. Made it nice and fancy, worth every dollar going to chef school. And here we are. Mozzarella sticks and quick tomato sauce. Peace.